Hi Aries, I'm in a garden in Italy. It's not that early in the morning. It's morning and the cockerels are going and the birds are singing and it's very beautiful. And I thought I would start a reading for you, which is great, which is a pyramid reading. Forgive my setup, you're on a book. I mean the camera's on a book. So this is going to be a pyramid reading for, it's timeless, but let's say, just so that you know where we're at the moment, this is being recorded on the 18th of May 2024, but wherever you find this, it will be relevant if it resonates with you. So this first card is you, the world, lovely, and this next card is the challenge that you're facing. Listen to those cockerels. Right. Okay, that's interesting. Another major arcana. So the challenge you're facing is the Hermit. And the next card is how you're reacting to this challenge. How is Aries reacting to this challenge? It's very clear. The Knight of Pentacles. No, you're not going to get to see the whole spread, I don't think, so we're just going to have to move the cards around as we go. And then how best to dance with this challenge. So that last card was how you're reacting to it, and how best could you dance with this challenge. On the grounds that anything we're facing is there for our evolution, or I believe, however hard, however much fun, however boring, however exciting. That's fascinating. So the Seven of Wands, which, to show you him, that's how you could best react to this challenge. So sort of, okay, well I'm going to put the rest of the cards out before I start reading this. So then the next card is what is working as friction in this situation, and you've got two cards for this, the King of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. And what support are you receiving from other places, by which, depending on your beliefs, this could be, sorry, I'm just picking the cards up. Your ancestors, gosh, there was 4 cards there. So this could be your ancestors, the fairy realm, your higher self, psychotherapy, well, actually, to be honest, I'm thinking really about support from other realms. So here we've got the Two of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, Justice, and the Queen of Wands as the support that you're getting from other realms. So quite a lot of support. That's interesting. How could you become stuck in face of this situation? It's just sort of cautionary, and I know it's not really. Okay, so we've got the Nine of Swords and the Lover's card. And then we're going to pull a card of advice. Oops. Advice for Aries in the challenge that they're facing at the moment. That's interesting, goes really well with the previous Seven of Wands, which was in how best to work with these energies. We now have the Five of Wands, which I love, and what happens if you take that advice? The Five of Wands for Aries. Aries, what happens if they take that advice? Wow, that's great. Two cards again, and we've got the Knight of Wands and the Death card, and then where it's leading, where this challenge is leading you. Where is this challenge leading Aries? Oh wow, 10 of Cups, how lovely. Right, so starting from the beginning, you. So this is you in the centre of your world. I mean, it could indicate a kind of completion of a. It could indicate a completion of a cycle. It's the final card in the Major Arcana, and you see the figure surrounded by the wreath of success, and she is very much in the centre of her own world. So I would say that's quite a positive suggestion, that you aren't sidelining yourself, that you are fully aware of what's going on, but possibly that you've reached the end of one stage and that you're beginning in another stage, in another phase of your life, having succeeded well in one. And then the challenge that you're facing, we have the Hermit card. So, you know, it's quite clear that the Hermit is a wonderful card of wisdom, and he's a fantastic character in the again in the Major Arcana. But as a challenge, it would suggest that you're finding it quite difficult to find the next step forward, because we say about this card that he is just putting one step in front of him, the other led by the light of his intuition and his sort of spirit. He's just only able to see the ground just ahead of him, so really he can just make one small step after the other rather than having a long vista or view of where he's going. Maybe that's a challenge for you because you're an Aries and they like faster movement, and maybe it's frustrating to you, or maybe you're having a challenge in getting into that space of introspection where you can just, in the face of not really having a clear overall vision, your challenge potentially could be that you're finding it hard to drop into that space of intuition where you just trust that you're going to make the right step. The next step will be the right one. And then how you're reacting to this challenge is, it's quite an un-Aries energy actually, is the Knight of Pentacles. So you're kind of still. I love the Knight of Pentacles, but it might feel frustrating to an Aries. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but he is very still and steady. I think it's quite a sensible reaction, even if it's not a comfortable one, which is you're not quite sure where you're going, so you're just being very still and steady and methodical, and taking your time and building things slowly, and not rushing anywhere. And then when we come to how best to dance with this energy, actually the advice you're being given is to get onto higher ground and fight off these other ones which could represent, I mean, the thing that comes into my mind is your insecurities about this situation or your frustrations, and you need to just stay above higher ground and don't get bogged down. Don't worry, this will change, the energy will change. So, you know, remember that you can be on the higher ground, and however uncomfortable you are defending your position. So the dance that would be with this a little bit more active than where you are at the moment, which is maybe just kind of slightly accepting the way things are. Maybe you have to fight a little bit more to gain the insight that you need to drop into that intuition. Like really put some effort into it, even if it's not coming naturally to you at the moment. Fight for it, because it will yield great results. And then what is the friction in the situation? We've got the King of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So it's interesting, something to do with father figures, something to do with money, generational wealth, and love. It could be if you have a husband that reminds me, or a partner who reminds you of the King of Pentacles, a sort of solid, stable provider. It could be that there is some friction around a feeling of fresh love in this situation. Is it that you aren't feeling the love for that person or that situation? Or could it be that the friction is that you are loving someone like that, and is it taking all your energy away from you? It seems unlikely to me, but there's a friction, there's some love of a stability, of a stable figure or a stable position. Yeah, now I think about it, what would make sense is the friction might be that there has been a very stable position and that you've loved it very much. And if things aren't clear at the moment, maybe having to give up that sense of stability just for a little while is causing you friction. And then what supports from the ancestors or the other realms? We've got these 4 cards. So 2 of Wands, somebody setting their sights, looking out across the horizon, deciding what they want. So you are being given support to start fixing on what it is you want, and also, getting a longer view than the one that the Hermit, however wise his view is, it doesn't have much large parameters. So you're being given the support to get that view. You're being given the the 8 of Pentacles, so the ability to just stick at something and work, with the stamina, the discipline to just keep going, don't give up. These are the things that you're being offered from the other realm. And a fairness, that there will be balance, that things will work out, so there will be justice in this, and you are being looked after karmically almost. And then the Queen of Wands, who has wonderful intuition and a fiery temperament, and is the queen that sits with her legs open with her black cat. She's kind of sexy and fiery and intuitive, and that sort of indicates that you might be being given some energy to deal with this, and also an access to your intuition. And then how could you become stuck in this situation? Well, that's very clear. Worrying. This is the card of waking up in the middle of the night, not sure what to do. Kind of those sort of night terrors where your brain is going round and round, and it's often very over-exaggerated. But it's interesting that it comes with the Lovers. The Lovers, though it can be about love in the way that you might traditionally see it, makes it seem like it's about a partnership. So you could be worrying about a partnership. That might be one of the indications, but you could also, one of the other things we talk about with the Lovers is that it means a big choice. You might be worrying about a big choice ahead of you. So becoming stuck would equal worrying, either about a choice that you're facing, or that's not being clear to you, or a lover. And the advice is the 5 of Wands, which is a wonderful card of these kids all playing with the sticks, and they're jumping in to affect, they're competing in that kind of fun way that you might play a board game or just get going with a sport. So the advice is, don't get into too much inertia. Jump in, decide what it is you want. You're good at this. This works with your natural temperament. You can fight for the clarity or for the right choice for yourself, and if you do it, it'll be quite fun. And then what happens if you take this advice, which is lovely? We see the Death card, which is the death of the old king, a new king rising, and the sun in the background. So really it's a card of rebirth, and rebirth with this fantastic Knight of Wands, which is so Aryan, You know, he's very focused on what he needs. He's got loads of energy. His horse is flying. He's full of passion and creativity. So if you follow that advice, it will, almost like priming a pump, start the sense of passion and adventure back up again, and this new life that you might be facing after the completion of this one cycle round, in, you know, the one cycle, one phase of your life coming to an end and giving way to this passionate new beginning. And where it's all leading, couldn't be nicer, is the Ten of Cups. So it's about a happy, fulfilled, emotional life. So if this worry that you've been having, if this problem that potentially is with this King of Cups, King of Pentacles kind of character, the friction that you've been feeling, if it is about a partner, if it is about something in your family, or somebody who's a father or a husband or a partner to you, if that's been causing friction, certainly if you follow this advice, which is to just jump in and really fight for what you want and need, then this new beginning's coming, and with the Knight of Wands, and where that leads is to an incredibly happy personal life, and the two children playing here, the rainbow and the cups all full, and a real sense of kind of completion and happiness. So that's absolutely lovely, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.